What type of data is used in chi-square test? Chi-square test is for categorical data. You recall from Module 1 that we have 4 levels of measurement. So nominal and ordinal, interval, and ratio level. When you say chi-square, it, it is only for nominal and ordinal data. What are these data? Ito yung data na out of count. When you count how many are males, how many are females. So that is referring to the variable gender. And it has 2 categories, male, female. Okay? Other variables such as, say, marital status. How many categories yon? You may have single, married, and separated. So you may have 3 categories. These are nominal variables. How about ordinal variables? These are variables from a Likert scale, such as strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. So you have 4 categories in that case. Then you may count how many agree, how many strongly agree, and you can descriptively find if there is some association of these 2 variables, like response, may kinalaman ba yung response niya, whether nag-agree or nag-disagree siya to gender? Parang ganon, no? You can use chi-square to be able to answer that question. It can be used on actual numbers. Yun, binalik ulit. Not on percentages, not on proportions, or means. See? You can only use chi-square for this actual numbers only. You cannot use it when you're actually just referring to yung mga averages. No, hindi pwede. It has to be from a count. It compares the tallies or counts of categorical responses between 2 or more independent groups or variables. And it tests how well the observed distribution of data fits with the distribution that is expected if the variables are independent. This means that you can test whether a certain sample size taken from a population actually inherits the attribute from the population. So you can test that. That's goodness of fit test. Pwede mong gawin yan sa chi-square. So these are the characteristics of chi-square distribution. This is distribution na, no? Yung table. So the major characteristic of chi-square distribution, it is positively skewed. So ang tail niya papunta sa right, yung distribution, if you're going to graph it. It is non-negative, so the value of the x squared is always positive. It's based on degrees of freedom. When the degree of freedom change, a new distribution is created, a special class of hypothesis test used when assumptions of parametric tests are not met. So you can use chi-square when hindi ma-meet yung assumptions ng t-test, hindi ma-meet ang assumptions ng Pearson. So pwede mong i-transform yung data mo from a continuous data to a ordinal or nominal data. Paano yon? Example, age. Pwede mo nangungulekta ka ng age. Pwedeng ilagay mo doon how old are you? Tapos sila yung maglalagay ng age nila, whether 25, 26, and so on. So what you are collecting actually are data na continuous or interval. Kung height naman, ilalagay talaga nila yung height. So you have collected a raw data na continuous yung kanyang level of measurement, pero you can transform that by grouping them, such as in terms of age, 21 to 25. So meron ka ngayong bilang kung ilan ang andoon sa count, ilang count ang meron doon sa category na yon. So kung halimbawa ang age, lahat-lahat ng nakolekta mong responses in terms of age ay umabot siya ng, pwede mong i-categorize, let's say, 3 categories or even 4 or more, depende sa'yo yun, no? So let's say 21 to 25, 26 to 30, 30 1 to 35, and then 36 and above. So you have 4 categories. Kaya transform mo yung nakolekta mong data from interval level to ordinal level ngayon. O di pwede mo na ngayong gamitan ng chi-square. Basta ganon. Kasi nga, meron ka ng count per category sa age. Okay? So, you can do that for continuous data. So, ito yung distribution ng chi-square natin. Kung lakihan natin yan, although medyo malabo siya ng konti kasi copy and paste ko lang to from the internet. Makikita mo na meron tayong degree of freedom dito sa first column. Tapos itong mga columns na to corresponds to kung ano yung level of significance mo. Usually naman dito tayo sa 0.5 level of significance. Ibig sabihin, you're 95% sure that you will not commit a type 1 error. So dito tayo palagi nakapipili ng mga values. Kung ang degree of freedom mo is 1, dito ka 2.7. If your degree of freedom is 5, then you have a 9.2. Na i-compare mo ngayon doon sa computed mo. Kaya, if your computed is greater than tabulated, gano'n naman palagi, no? You reject the null. What have you noticed? It's all positive. Tingnan mo yung kanyang, it's a tail is towards the right, no? So, positively skewed and non-negative ang mga values. So, this is it as an illustration. Yan ang distribution niya. Ito yung, if your DF is 3, meaning, ibig sabihin, kasi ang DF dependent on the sample size. So if your DF, if you have a sample size of, DF is dependent on the number of columns and number of rows. Kasi cross-tabulation ang mangyayari dito sa chi-square. Meron kang makikreate ngayon na cross-tabulation table. At doon sa cross-tabulation table, malalaman mo kung ano yung size ng table mo by the number of columns and number of rows. So, the degree of freedom is dependent on the number of rows and the number of columns because the degree of freedom is equal to row minus 1 times column minus 1. Kaya, pag ang degree of freedom mo is mababa, makikita mo yung distribution niya talagang right skewed or positively skewed. As you increase your degree of freedom, bumababa yung distribution mo, yung pickedness, and then kung mas tataas pa to, mag-a-approach siya ngayon ng normal distribution na parang symmetrical na siya ngayon. No? Ganyan ang tendency ng distribution ng chi-square. As the number of n, of course, kasi tataas ang degree of freedom, pagtataas din ang number of sample size or the size of the sample. Kaya, ito yung mga assumptions for parametric test, not for chi-square, but for parametric test. Dependent variable is a scale variable. Ibig sabihin nito, yung sa SPSS kasi tinawag na scale variable ang interval level at saka ratio level. Isa na lang yon. Kaya ang tawag doon, scale variable. So dapat daw, pag parametric test, ano nga ba yung parametric test? These are tests na nagre-require na dapat normally distributed, dapat random ang pagkuha ng sampling, and many others like homogeneity, yung Levin's test na homogeneity, and then ano pa yung mga test ng normality, and requirement in terms of dependent and independent variable. So, yan ang parametric test. Example of that, t-test, ANOVA, Pearson, yan, parametric test yan. Ano mga assumptions sa kanila? Dapat ang dependent variable, scale variable. Yun. Participants are randomly selected. Ito, review na lang to, no? Pero dito, non-parametric test naman, kailan mo gagamitin? Kung hindi ka papasa dito sa parametric test, hindi papasa yung data mo dyan, dito ka pupunta sa non-parametric test. Ano yung mga requirements or kailan mo gagamitin yung non-parametric? Kung ang dependent variable mo is nominal, yun na nga. Yung hindi mo mara-rank. Nominal, ordinal. So, review nyo lang to, no? When either the dependent or independent variable is ordinal. Use when the sample size is small. Use when underlying population is not normal. Ayan. Yan ang mga non-parametric. Kaya lang, may limitation siya. Non-parametric test, hindi mo magagamit yung confidence intervals at saka effect sizes. Effect sizes will check yung type 1 error. Hindi mo magagamit yan. Have less statistical power than parametric test. Ano naman yung statistical power? Ito naman yung pagtitest kung i-test mo yung bang type 2 error, na-commit mo ba yung type 2 error? This will test the type 2 error statistical power. Nominal and ordinal data provides less information. Yeah, kasi nga, parang ang identity nakatago na eh. Bilang na lang kasi eh. Hindi mo talaga alam yung parang exact na measurement for that particular observation kasi kinompress mo na siya. Gumawa ka na kasi ng parang distribution, frequency distribution table or naka-cross tabulation table na siya. So more likely to commit type 2 error. Ito nga, less kasi ang statistical power niya, kaya more likely to commit type 2 error. Hindi mo ma-check yung effect size, kaya more likely to commit type 1 error. Okay? Alam naman natin yung type 1 and type 2 error kung ano yan. These are the assumptions of a chi-square test. Data in the cells should be frequencies or counts. Oh, yan, in-emphasize ko na yan kanina. Ano nga ba yung cells? Cells are those entries in a cross tabulation table. Like, this one is a cross tabulation table because you have one variable in this column, your variable output into two categories, defective and non-defective. Another variable in the row, shift variable, you have morning and evening. So ito is one cell, another cell. So you have 4 cells because you have a two categories and 2 categories. That's why you have a 2 by 2. So meaning 2 times 2, you have 4 cells. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng cell dito na sinasabi sa assumptions. Yan. Data in the cell should be frequencies. Yan, count yan. Levels or categories of the variables are mutually exclusive. Ibig sabihin, yung isang observation na na-belong sa one cell should not belong to another cell. Doon lang talaga siya sa iisang cell. Each subject may contribute data to one and only one cell in X squared. Yeah, when you compute the X squared, isa lang talaga ang contribution ng bawat observation. Study groups must be independent. They should not affect one another. Kasi itetest mo pa nga kung makaka-apekto ba sila eh. Diba? Relationship na ang itetest mo dito. Association, independence. There are 2 variables and both are measured as categories, nominal or ordinal level, or interval or ratio level. Itong interval or ratio level data, pwede siya. Basta i-collapse mo into ordinal categories. Ano yung collapse? Hindi yun nahimatay. Ito ay pinag-combine mo yung dalawang category. For example, meron kang 5 categories like age. Tapos, konti lang yung count sa isang cell. Mas maganda siguro i-combine mo na lang yung dalawang category. Like for example, 21 to 25. And then 26 to 30. Konti lang pala ang nabilang dun sa 21 to 25. Di combine ko na lang, gawin ko na lang siyang 21 to 30. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng collapse. So, kinulaps mo siya into ordinal categories. Ayan. And note that a very large number of cells, over 20, can make it difficult to meet assumption below and to interpret the meaning of the results. Kaya pag sobrang dami naman ng cell mo, meron kang 6 by 6. 6 categories sa isang variable and then another 6 categories sa pangalawang variable. Do you have a 6 by 6 table, which means 36 cells yon. Medyo mahihirapan kang i-meet itong assumption na to. Ano to? Value of the cell expected, kasi meron tayong term na frequency expected, should be 5 or more in at least 80% of the cells, and no cell should have an expected of less than 1. Ibig sabihin, dapat wala kang cell na 0 ang entry. Dapat walang ganon. Kung meron man, i-compress mo nga siya sa iisang cell. Pagsamahin mo na. At kung meron kang, let's say, 4 by 5, so 4 categories and 5 categories on the other variable, so meron kang 4 by 5, meaning meron kang 20 cells. eh dapat 80% nung 20, ano bang 80% ng 20? Should have 5 or more counts. Yeah, in terms of expected counts. It should have 5 or more. Otherwise, na-violate mo na to. Yan, na-violate mo tong assumption na to. No? This assumption is most likely to be met if the sample size equals at least the number of cells multiplied by 5. Ayan. Paano ba? Ano yung ibig sabihin yan? Kung halimbawa, you have a 4 by 5, hindi mo maiwasan talaga na gusto mo 4 category yung isang variable mo, 5 categories naman yung another variable, so you have a 4 by 5 table, so that means you have 20 cells, times 5 mo siya, 100. So, ibig sabihin, at least, dapat ang sample size mo should be 100. Yun ang ibig sabihin nito. So, naintindihan niyo ako doon, class? Naintindihan niyo ako? Paano i-comply itong assumptions ng chi-square? Kasi later on, halimbawa, gagamit kayo ng test na to doon sa thesis nyo, edi yung panel, may uupong statistician doon. Sana hindi ako. Tapos, nakita yung paano nyo ginawa yung nag-chi-square kayo, tapos nakita paano nyo ginawa, eh hahanapin talaga to. Hahanapin yan. Pag hindi, mabubutasan kayo. O ito ba, na-comply nyo? Hindi pala nyo comply eh. Hindi na natin titingnan yung result. Wala yung result kasi hindi nyo na-comply itong lahat ng to. Kaya very, very important to really remember the concept behind chi-square before you use it. So example, when to use chi-square, meron tayo ditong isang seashore na ang composition ng kanyang, yung lupa doon, 59% of area covered in sand. So may sand, may mud, may rocky part. So ang ratio niya is 4 by 2 by 1. Ito. Ratio nito is 4 by 2 by 1. Kasi total nito 100% eh. So 4 by 2 by 1. If the seagulls were standing in random places, your null hypothesis would be, syempre, ganun ang composition ng kanyang, yung land doon, yung seashore doon. You would expect na kung meron mang nakatayo doon, not only seagulls, but also maybe persons, mga pumunta sa beach resort, tapos maraming tao doon, you would also expect na nakadistribute yung mga tao. In this way also, 59% of them stands on sand, 28% on the mud, and 13% on the rocky part. Ganun yung magiging expectation mo. Kaya yun ang null hypothesis doon. No? That should be. Otherwise, yung ini-expect mo, nare-reject yun. No? So let's have this goodness of fit test. Let's take up yung mga formulas na. If you are going to manually compute your chi-square, ito yun, x squared, yan yung symbol niya. You have to take note of f sub o. Ito yung frequency observed, frequency expected. Paano kukunin yung frequency observed? Galing yan sa data mo. Nangolekta ka, nag-survey ka. So, observation mo, observation 1 for this particular variable. Ilan ang meron dyan? Ilan ang nag-yes? Ilan ang nag-no? Yan ang frequency observed. Expected naman is to be computed. No? Mamaya. May formula din siya. And ang null mo dito, walang pinagkaiba between observed and expected. Yan ang null. Tapos ang alternative, of course, yung opposite to this statement. Ito yung formula niya, summation of frequency observed minus frequency expected quantity squared divided by frequency expected. Critical value is a chi-square value with k minus 1 degree of freedom. Gaya ng sinabi ko, yung degree of freedom is row, kung naka-cross tab row minus 1 times column minus 1, kung cross tabulation. Pero kung hindi siya cross tab, ibig sabihin isang category lang pinag-uusapan natin, then it would be the number of categories minus 1. Okay? Contingency table analysis. So ito yung isang klase ng usefulness or para ma-utilize mo yung chi-square, ito yon in the contingency table. So each observation is classified according to 2 variables. Usual hypothesis is testing the usual hypothesis testing procedure is used, yung ating steps. Meron kang null, meron kang alternative, tapos computed versus tabulated, and then you arrive at a decision. So ito yung degree of freedom as I have mentioned, number of rows -1, columns -1. How to compute for the frequency expected? Ito na siya, row total times column total divided by grand total. So let's have an example. Apply this. Ito ang 2 by 2. Ito yung pinakita ko kanina. Supposing, meron kang data, tapos yung data mo, na arrange mo na siya ngayon, na in terms of output, kasi sa manufacturing plant to, no? Meron kang morning shift, meron kang evening shift. In terms of output, meron kang 30 defectives sa morning shift. Meron kang 35 defectives sa evening shift for a total of 65. And then 370 for non-defective, 265 for non-defective. Sa evening naman, a total of 635. Of course, mas malaki to kaysa dyan, no? Reality naman yan. Get the total, column total, so that how to compute for the expected frequency, kagaya ng nandito sa formula, row total, so for this cell, itong cell na to, cell number 1, column 1, row 1, row total is 65 times 400 divided by 700. So you get 37.14. Similarly, 65 times 300 divided by 700, you get 27. Para ma-solve mo yung x squared, dapat kunin mo lahat. So if you have a larger table, then you expect to have more cells to compute for the frequency expected. Kaya mas dadami yung terms, mas dadami yung computation mo para makuha mo to. Okay? So x squared therefore is the summation of the first expected frequency, frequency observed minus frequency expected squared divided by frequency expected. Ito na yon, apply mo na to. Ito na siya. Dito. Sundan nyo ako, class. Yan, plus this one, kasi ito yon. 35 minus 27.86 squared divided by 27.86. Plus. And then you get a total of 3.53. That's your computed value. And yung computed na yan, i-compare mo na ngayon sa tabulated. Since you have degree of freedom na 2 minus 1 times 2 minus 1, kasi row, number of rows minus 1 times number of columns minus 1. So you have 1 times 1. So a degree of freedom is 1. You look at the, look for the tabulated value in the, dito tayo sa degree of freedom na 1. Tapos, dito tayo sa 0.05. So you compare your computed x squared with 3.8. And since that 3.8 is actually more, so ang nangyari dito sa computation mo, mas mataas yung tabulated kaysa computed, 3.58. Konting-konti lang sana, no? 3.53 is less than 3.58. So therefore, ang decision mo dyan is failed to reject the null. Hindi mo na-reject yung null. So, ibig sabihin, walang kinalaman yung morning, yung shift doon sa output. Wala siyang kinalaman kasi ang expected mo is more or less. Wala namang pagkakaiba doon sa, kung meron man, statistically speaking, ay hindi siya considered significant. Ganon siya, class. Kasi ito ay mababa kumpara doon sa computed. Kung ito sana mas mataas, then you reject the null. At you accept the alternative such that may kinalaman pala. Ito yung unequal expected frequencies. Meron tayong data dito because not all the time bibigyan ka ng count, no? Meron na kailangan mong i-compute yung expected frequency kasi hindi siya pwedeng i-compute base doon sa nakasanayan mong frequency distribution table. Naggamitan mo ng formula na ganito. not all the time, ito. Not all the time na ito palagi yung formula. Not all the time. It depends on, like for example, this one. The Philippine census indicated that 63.9% of the population is married, so marital status ito, 7.7 widowed, 6.9 divorced, and 21.5 single. A sample of 500 adults from the National Capital Region showed that 310 were married, 40 widowed, 30 divorced, and 120 single. At the 0.5 significance level, can we conclude that the NCR area is different from the country as a whole? So, meron kang kinuhang sample na 500 doon sa NCR, pero countrywide census, ito yung attributes niya. So, you would expect na dapat, sana, itong nasa NCR should inherit the attribute of the country, of the Philippine, kasi ito sa census to ng buong Pilipinas. Somehow, you would expect na dapat walang pinagkaiba, no? Pero tingnan natin kung meron nga talaga. Ito kasi is a different one kasi hinahanapan mo kung meron bang kinalaman. Iba yung may kinalaman sa pinagkaiba. Okay, class? May kinalaman ba ang shift sa output, whether defective or not? Ito naman, ang tanong dito, meron bang pinagkaiba itong attribute na kinuha mong sample doon sa attribute ng buong Pilipinas in terms of marital status distribution. Okay? So this is now your data. You're counting 310 married and so on. Yung FE, hindi mo siya gamitan nga ng formula na row. Wala kasi tayong row and column dito. Only isang category lang to, no? Kaya paano mo kukunin siya? Eh di, gamitan mo nung percentage, 63.9 of 500 is 319. Okay? Dito mo na gagamitin to para makompute mo yung expected. Kasi nga, kumuha ka ng 500, you're expecting na kahit kumuha ka ng 500 lang, more or less, dapat ito pa rin yung composition niya. So, hanapan mo kung may pinagkaiba ba silang dalawa. May pinagkaiba ba to dito? Although mas mataas to ng konti, may pagkakaiba ba to dito? Okay, class? So, ayan, itetest mo kung may pagkakaiba ba sila. Kaya, compute mo muna f sub o minus f sub e squared. So, meron ka na nito. 310 minus 319 quantity squared divided by 319.5. So, ito yung nakuha mong mga values. Tapos, isum mo to kasi ito yung x squared. So, you come up with 2.38. Ngayon, i-compare mo to, ang computed value na to, sa tabulated value dun sa chi-square distribution table. And so, anong degree of freedom mo ngayon? Hindi ito minus 1, kundi 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 categories sa status. So, 4 minus 1 is 3. Kaya 3 ang degree of freedom mo. Balikan mo dito, yan. And you look at 3. 3 na under doon sa 0.05, so that's 7.8 class. Klaro ba? And then alternative, there is difference. So since your computed is very much less than tabulated, di ba? Mas greater to, kumpara diyan. So that you cannot reject your null. H sub O is not rejected. You accept this, the distribution has not changed. Okay? More or less, kung ano man yung distribution neto, wala naman siyang panagkaiba sa expected frequency mo. Statistically speaking, no? Although meron kang nakikita na pagkakaiba kasi 40 is different from 38. However, statistically speaking, when you test that using chi-square, wala siyang pinagkaiba. Okay? Di ba maganda siya, class? Yung concept niya. So, saan mo siya gagamitin in terms of, mag-sample ka halimbawa sa thesis mo. Tapos kukuha ka buong new era na population, pero meron siyang ganitong attribute na ang distribution pala ng mga estudyante ay 60% comes from the public school, sa high school sila, and then 40% comes from the private school. And then, kukuha ka ng sample, meron kayang itong sample na kinuha ko, may pagkakaiba ba to dun sa alam nating distribution ng population ng mga students, ng mga freshman students, you can do that, no, with the use of this. And then another application is yung goodness of fit test for normality naman. Iba yung isa na crosstab, iba yung sa pagtetest kung may difference in terms of distribution from a sample to the population. Ito naman is normality. To test whether the observed frequencies in a frequency distribution match the theoretical normal distribution. So determine the mean and standard deviation of frequency distribution. Compute the z value for the lower class limit and upper class limit for each class. Ito yung natutunan natin dun sa normal distribution under module 4, if you remember. And then you find the f of e, and then use chi-square goodness of fit test to determine if the FO coincides with FE. So we have here a sample of 500 donations to the Arthritis Foundation reported in the following frequency distribution. Is it reasonable to conclude that the distribution is normally distributed with a mean of 10 and a standard deviation of 2? Use the 0.05 significance level. So to compute for F of E of the first class, ito yung concept na natutunan natin sa module 4, di ba? We know using the concept of Z, we will make use of yung formula ng Z na Z is equal to the mean, the observed value minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. Yun yung formula. So given sa distribution na to, itong 500 donations, ang binigay na value ng mean is $10. Standard deviation is 2. So gagamitin natin yan para makompute natin ng Z for the observation na x less than 6. Ano bang data natin? Ito yung data eh. Yan ang data. Ano bang problem? Ang problem kasi, meron kang 500 donations. Okay? 500 donations sa Arthritis Foundation. Gusto mong malaman kung ito bang 500 donations na to na hindi mo alam kung paano siya na-distribute in terms of value. Kasi dito sa data, may nag-donate ng $6 na 20 katao. $6 and less. Meron namang nag-donate ng $6 to $8 na 60 katao. And so on, 500 lahat sila. Ito bang distribution na to? Ito ba ay normally distributed? Gusto mong malaman ngayon, okay, kung normally distributed ba siya. So, gamitan natin ngayon ng formula ng Z. Okay? So, tingnan natin. Yung 6, observe kasi 6 ito. 6 yung una dito eh. 6 minus 10 divided by 2. Asan yung 10? Yan yung mean. Ano yung 2? Yan yung standard deviation. So, ang nakuha nating value is 0.0228. Yan yung Z. So, nakuha nating Z value is 0.0228. Ngayon, hahanapin mo, kaya, ano tong 0.0228? Actually, itong 6 minus 10 is 4, di ba? Divided by 2. Negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Hahanapin mo yan dito sa Z distribution. Yan, negative 2. Ito, negative 2. Anong value niya? 0.0228. Ito yun. Hindi ito yung result nito ha. Ang result nito is negative 2. Pero i-refer mo pa yan sa Z distribution table. Hindi sa chi-square ha. Sa Z distribution table, nahanapin mo, ito yung na-compute mo, ito yung kanyang corresponding area under the curve. So, ito yun, dito yung kinuha. So, 0.02, ito yung 0.0228. Kaya lang, na-reduce into 2 decimal places. Kaya 0.02. At ito ay i-multiply mo doon sa 500. Kasi nga, wala ka namang given na proportion. So, itong 0.02 times 500, you get 11.4. Ngayon ang frequency observed mo. Okay? Frequency observed. Ito yung, frequency expected. Ito yung observed. Okay? So next is, ano naman yung 6 to 8? O di may na-compute ka ng 6. Ang nakuha mo is 0.02. Iko-compute mo naman ngayon yung 8. So pag compute mo sa 8, meron kang 6. Wait lang. Gamitin natin yung formula. 8, ito, 8 minus 10 is 2, negative 2. Divided by 2 is negative 1. O di hanapin mo yung negative 1 sa Z distribution table. Ito ay kinopy-paste ko na lang. Negative 1 is 0.1587. So yung 0.1587 minus 0.0228, you have 0.1359. Pag i-round off mo yan, 0.14. So yung 0.14, i-multiply mo ngayon sa 500. Ngayon, kung gusto mo exact, pwede mo namang hindi i-reduce yung decimal place eh. Pwede mong 4 decimal places yan para talagang accurate ka sa pagkuha ng value nito. Pwede rin naman. Dito lang for the sake of lesser figure, kaya ni-round off ko siya. So, pwede rin namang gamitin ko is 0.1359. Eh, dito, ni-reduce ko na lang. So, 0.14. Ni-round off ko into 2 decimal place. So, 0.14 times 500, I get 67.95. So, yan ngayon ang i-compare mo sa 60. Kasi ito yung ini-expect mo para maging normal. Pero ito yung observe. And you do the same to all the entries dito. So, once makuha mo na to, compute mo na naman based on the formula, F sub O minus F sub E, quantity squared over F sub E. Once makuha mo na yung mga values na yan, get the sum, ito na yung X squared mo. Okay, class? X squared. So, ito ay i-compare mo ngayon sa distribution table for a DF of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus 1, so you have 5. Kaya 5 DF, and then 300 yun, malaki yun. So parang feeling ko magre-reject na tayo ng null. Kasi I have 5, and then 0.05, I only have 11.07. Compared to 300, so it's way beyond the computed value. The computed value is very, very large compared to the expected, to the tabulated value. Kaya ang result natin dito, reject the null. Reject the null, class. Ibig sabihin, the distribution is normal. Okay? The distribution is normal because our computed value is larger than the tabulated value. Ayan, 336 compared to 11.07. So DF of 5, alpha of 0.05. So the distribution, yan ang null mo, no? Reject mo yan. The distribution, therefore, is not normal. So accept mo to. Accept mo yan. Okay? Yan ngayon ang decision mo. Kasi ang tanong dito is it reasonable to conclude that the distribution is normally distributed with a mean of 10 and a standard deviation? Therefore, our conclusion, the distribution, therefore, is not normal. It is skewed. Ayan, class. Pwede mong gamitin ito para malaman in terms of normality. Okay? Now, another example, is there a relationship between the location of the accident and the sex of the person involved in the accident? So, a sample of 150 accidents reported to the police were classified by type and gender. At 0.05 level of significance, can we conclude that the gender and the location of the accident are related? Ayan. May kinalaman ba yung gender doon sa location of accidents? And we have a sample of 150. So ngayon, meron kang nakolekta doon. Diba, nag-survey ka, anong gender mo? Male, female. So meron kang coding. 1 for male, 2 for female. Pwede mo namang i-reverse yon. Tapos, tatanungin mo sila, kasi sila kinuha mo na dahil meron nga silang, kumbaga, this is a purposive sampling na talagang sila ngayon ay na-involved sa accident at any location. So tatanungin mo saan nangyari yung accident? Sa work, yung isa sagot sa sa home, yung isa others. So meron kang 3 categories for the location of the accident, meron kang 2 categories for the gender. May kinalaman ba ang gender doon sa location? Yan na nga yung gusto mong alamin. Actually, itong example na to is the same as example 1. Di ba? You do the same, compute mo na naman. This is a 3 by 2. So 3 by 2 is 6. You have 6 cells. You also compute 6 frequency expected kasi ito observed na to eh. And then you compute, no? The same process. You do it at home. Mamaya, kung may time ka, pwede mo itong gawin para ma-verify mo kung talaga bang tama ito. Paano ba nakuha yan? Tama ba yung na-arrive ko? So this is for you to do. Kaya ang null natin, gender and location are not related. Yun. Gender and location are related. That's for alternative. And then DF mo is 2. Why 2? Because 3 minus 1 is 2. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So 3 times 1, no, 2 times 1 is 2. Kaya DF mo is 2. Okay? And alpha is 0.05. And since this is greater than this one, reject the null. Gender and location are related. So may kinalaman daw ang gender sa accident location. Okay? Yan ang dito, no? Now in SPSS, ito na. Papakita ko lang sa inyo and you can actually refer to this when you have a copy of the SPSS. Sa ngayon kasi hanggang dito lang talaga tayo, hindi natin makuha yung hands-on dahil wala naman tayo sa lab. So in your free time, you do this. Supposing you have a raw data and then yung data na yon i-encode mo. So meron kang age, encode mo 1111. Ibig sabihin categorical yan. The one there belongs to a certain group of age. Tapos may gender din dito. Okay? And then meron pa siyang educational attainment na variable. So pwedeng college graduate, elementary graduate, and so on. So may category din yon. Ang gusto mong malaman ngayon ay meron bang relationship ang gender sa educational attainment? So ang null mo, sila ay independent, no? So parang there is no significant relationship between gender and educational attainment. Yan yung null. Alternative, there is a relationship. Yun. And so in SPSS, punta ka sa Analyze, Descriptive Stat, and then mag-pop up ito, go to crosstabs. Ba? Go to crosstabs. Ito, tapos na tayo dito eh. Tapos na din tayo dyan doon sa descriptive. Dito na tayo sa cross-tabulation. And then, i-transfer mo yung dalawang variable. Dito, ito yung marami kang variable. Pero kukunin mo lang yung dalawang concern variable, education sa row at gender sa column. Ma'am, pwede bang mag-interchange? Pwede naman, but you have to consider kung alin sa mga variable na yan ang may mas maraming category, doon mo siya ilagay sa row. Since education has more than 2, mas marami siya kasi ang gender is only 2, nilagay ko sa row ang education, no? Educational attainment, or EDUC ang ating variable na tawag dyan. Gender sa column, okay? Then press statistics. Pag press mo ng statistics, mag-pop up ito. I-tick ko yung Phi and Kramer's V. Ano yun? Ano yan? Para saan yan? Explain ko yan mamaya, no? And then continue. And then after that, press mo ulit. Balik ka dito. Press mo yung cells dito. And then mag-pop up ito. Press mo yung observe at expected kasi ibibigay niya yung number ng observed count. Ibibigay niya rin yung number ng expected frequencies, no? Siya nang magko-compute. Tapos pati percentage, i-compute niya na rin. So row and column. Tapos continue. Yan, continue. And then press OK. So pag press mo ng okay, mag-generate na siya ngayon. Ito, okay lang yan. Hindi na natin, processing lang yan eh. Ito talaga isa sa mga importante. Ito yung cross-tabulation mo ngayon. Medyo marami nga lang kasi pinagsama na niya. Okay? Ito yung count. Ito yung F sub O. So 32 daw ang female, 17 ang male. A total of 49. Sa educational level 1, siguro ito ay high school graduate. Educational level 2, nagkataon na dalawa lang pala, no? Pala ko kasi tatlo. Sa educational level 2, siguro college graduate ito, ay, well, sa questionnaire kasi tatlo talaga to kasi merong high school graduate, college graduate, at saka postgraduate. E nagkataon, wala palang sumagot sa postgraduate. So, 9 tapos 2. Ayan. May count kang ganon. And then the expected, ibibigay niya na rin, 33.5, 15. Ayan, 7.5 and 3.5. Tapos in terms of percentage, 32 out of 49, that is 63.5. And then 32 out of 41, that is 78%. So meron kang apat na entry dito, dapat alam mo kung anong ibig sabihin ng mga to, no? Ayan, in-explain ko na. So, bawat cell, meron siyang ganyan, the same. And then, even doon sa total. Okay? You will notice na meron tayong isang cell na hindi na-qualify yung assumption. Kasi meron tayong expected count na 3.5, which is less than 5. Okay? Meron tayong, di ba meron tayong assumption kanina na dapat meron ba tayong cell na 0 yung count? Wala. So, okay yun. Meron tayong cell na less than 5? Meron. Ang expected 3.5. So, ibig sabihin, mag-a-adjust ka ngayon doon sa isang table na magde-decide ka kung ano yung mga values na ilalagay mo doon sa hypothesis testing mo. Yan ang isa. Okay? But is this 4 cells tayo? So, merong 1 over 4, so meron kang 25%. So, lumagpas ka nga sa 80% kasi this is 85. 75 pala. 75, only 75% of the cell has an expected value of higher than 5. Meron kang isang cell na lower than, so na-violate mo nga siya. Na-violate mo. Okay, how are you going to report? Sa manuscript mo, isulat mo to, APA format, Pearson chi-square, close open parenthesis, DF1, or pwede mo na hindi isulat yung DF. Isulat mo lang 1, 60. It's understood na. Yung 1 is DF, yung 60 na yon is the sample size. There's no need to write DF and N. So 1, 60 equals 0.497. Ano to? Ito yung computed chi-square. Ibig sabihin yung x squared. Yan yon. Saan mo kukunin yan? Dito sa table na to. Alin dito? Kasi marami. Meron kang 1.132, 0.497, 1. Saan dyan? Ito yung gagamitin mo. Why? Kasi meron kang 1 cell have expected count less than 5. The minimum expected count is 3.48. Na-violate mo kasi. You cannot use this. You can only report this one. 0.497. That's your x squared. Okay? Kasi na-violate mo yon. Computed only for a 2x2 table. Okay, so that's what you're going to report. Kaya iyan ang inilagay mo dyan. Yung p-value niya is 0.481. Saan mo kukunin? Dito rin. Kasi dito ka sa continuity correction eh. Hindi yan, kundi ito. So now, your p-value is greater than 0.05. Diba? Kasi ang basihan natin, it should have been less for you to reject the null. But this is greater than 0.05, therefore you failed to reject the null. Conclusion, walang kinalaman yung gender sa educational attainment. So, no statistically significant association between gender and educational attainment class. Okay? And ano yung Phi and Kramer's V? It measures the strength of association. Gaano ba ka strong if there is? Dito pa lang alam mo, wala nang kinalaman eh. So kung nakita mo dyan walang kinalaman na siya, hindi mo natitingnan to. Pero if it so happen na ito ay less than 0.05, ibig sabihin meron palang kinalaman. Gaano ka-strong yung level of association? O di dito ka na ngayon. In this case, dahil nagko-complement naman, wala nga kinalaman, so dito talaga, mababa din, 0.137 lang. May interpretation table nito, class. So, yung interpretation table nito, kasi ito ay R value, makikita natin doon sa next topic. Ang value na 0.8 and up, yun yung high relationship, no? High association. 0.7 is considered moderately high. 0.137 is weak, actually very weak association. Kaya yan ang Kramer's V. Mamimili ka lang asan dyan, no? And it also gives you the bar chart. This is, the blue one is for female, green is for male in terms of educational attainment. Ayan, yung pwede mo rin, this is a description, qualitative description of the distribution of the gender in terms of educational